Alright, let me check, see if we're all doing good here. We are. Okay, greetings all, Shardvixen here. I'm feeling better. Hey, Caswalt. Hey, Feely Boy, thanks for stopping by. I feel better. The body high is pretty much gone now. I am nauseous though. Can't seem to get that to go away. I ate some more. See if that helped. My throat still hurts. I'm not as spacey as I was. But I am spacey, just not as bad. So, alright, so there's a couple things we're going to do. First, we're going to look through, this is the coloring book that I got and Saint Minis that I was going to look through. So I'm going to go through it, I'm going to pull it apart, I'm going to put things aside, and then we're going to work on my letters for Parliament Wisdom, which I did, I think, last week. And then I might do some coloring. Then I'll take a short break, and I'll come back, and I'm going to play some Potato, and I don't know, look at some other games on whatever. Unless I decide to do Tricky Doors again. I haven't decided. So, alright. So what I'm looking to do is separate these, because I've got a couple of different new ones that are going to come up. This is Ladybugs, which is nice. Okay, so you can buy these brand new. Walmart has them all the time. I'm gonna say, I don't know what the price is, but this one's $3.99 because I got it at the thrift store. You buy them at the thrift store, you'll probably find one or two of them that have been colored in, and then they've quit coloring them, which makes sense. But I have to separate the insects and stuff. I'm gonna be using those differently. So I thought it might be boring, but it's kind of fun to look at them. So. This one's nice. I think I'm going to color this one. If I color tonight, I think I'll color this one for the butterflies. So we'll put that aside as a maybe. As maybe. Because you remember I'm working on a butterfly one. Here's a bird. That's a heron. It could be a stork, but also could be a heron. So we'll put that over here. I want to separate them. I like this bug. That's cute. Hello, T-Minus Mom. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so I've got music in the background. You maybe can hear it a little bit, just for when I start to space. There's that parrot one I was working on before, which is good. That's the thing, if you buy these, you'll start to see a lot of similar things, but. So I'm going to separate the insects out. There's some nice ones in here, which is why I picked it up. Nice. I've got some birds. I would say maybe I could make them come across as thrushes or finches. I've had this one before, this butterfly. I've had that one before. Peacocks. I was thinking maybe peacocks would be a cool one to do next, but I have to do cockroaches after the birds and the parrots. Or maybe after the birds. I haven't decided. That's a nice bird one. Let your dreams take flight. That would have been nice for. I made this one mixed media poster for Roger, which kind of was the same thing as that I wrote my own quote. I'll put that one aside because that would make some nice feathers. Maybe we'll do those too. I don't know. Butterflies. But then you could color these. Remember I showed you can color them with anything. You could do, like a one set color or 3 colors in watercolor or whatever. It's a weird looking bird though. I don't know if I'd use that bird. Some of this other stuff might be fun for background though. Birds go over there. Look, fly free. Might color that one. Oops, another owl. A little late. But I might color that. So I'll put that aside. Might do that later. We're actually, finishing up on our owl stuff. Peacock. See, it would be fun to color that peacock. Fun and bothersome too. A sparrow. Yeah, a sparrow. Yeah, there's a lot of cool ones in this one. That's why I picked it up. It's like an overall, like if at the end of the year collection. This is nice. Free spirit. This is dragonflies. Toucan. I have to remember what the toucan's family is. Another bee. Won't you be my darling hummingbird? Hummingbird would be fun. I know I want to make some hummingbird one. I have a lot of bird ones, so I have to. This dragonfly looks a little bit like very cyberpunky style. You know, steampunk. It's probably more steampunk. Here's peace, love. So I was gonna do clay tonight, and then my garage is not done yet. Well, it's not done anyway, but it's a little messy because I got those new rollies. But I wanted to show you how you can make some canes that you could use in a journal, and then you can also roll out a very thin slat that you want. And take these and highlight them with like Sharpie or whatever. Flip them over and use them like it works like a tattoo, a transfer. Hummingbirds. Oh, another parrot. Good, good, good. So I'm pretty sure that one's probably more of a cockatoo because the other parrots don't. So a cockatoo, a parrot. Some more little birdies. I think you could just decide what you wanted them to do. The little round finches, and we have sparrows, like you said, and then thrusts. And that would be, they're kind of that color too. I took some pictures of them. Cowbirds, Swatty. Take a picture of a sparrow as big as a pigeon. Ooh, that's pretty big. Some peacocks. I could do some of my own drawings too. I do doodles, but I don't do like this. But some of these, I'm pretty sure some of these are just images that have been recreated on top of each other. Because they look very similar. That's not to say you couldn't draw it that way. I just think that the amount of time and effort it went into doing that would probably end up not being very, like, I think this is an AI generated picture right there. Because the beak is off the thing, but I could be wrong. And hopefully I don't insult somebody that says, oh, that's my picture and I sold it. So, but, yeah, they can get very simplistic that don't look really well. Like that was sitting this way, so is it that's upside down? But you could probably go that way with it. And a beetle, which is good because I'm supposed to do some beetle pictures too. Another toucan. But I was going to say, so you can take clay and make these little small butterflies and make them into little plaques that you could use, little beads. I got stuff I got to play around with. This one is Wander. The butterflies are kind of cool. I might put that aside. Do some more. I got so many butterflies for her. It's just outrageous. That's a dragonfly. We'll take those too. I don't know which bird that would be. The little cowbirds look like that. The little females, not the males. The little females look like it. Dragonfly. That one's very realistic kind of dragonfly. I might want to look through those dragonflies again. Beetle, butterfly, bee. Butterfly, I like that one too. I might color that one in rainbows. Okay, I think these are dragonflies. I don't think these are butterflies. So dragonflies, but if that's the case, then these are probably dragonflies too. And this would be a butterfly. And this would be a dragonfly. Here's a bee. There's another kind of beetle. It's a dragonfly. This is a fly. Very close-up picture of a fly. Another fly. I'm thinking not a bee. I don't think that's a bee. Nope, wrong thing. And then this also would be dragonflies. I guess you could say butterflies. These are butterflies. More flies. I haven't finished with the book, so we'll get there. This is a beetle and a butterfly mix. So I guess you'd have to decide which one you like better. I really like that dragonfly. So we're going to put that one aside. I might cut it out and color it. More butterflies. And like I said, I have plenty of... I'm just put beetles and flies together. I feel it's a wasp or a bee though. And here's another beetle. Another dragonfly, which is a repeat. Another beetle, ladybug style. Grasshopper, and then little beetles again. Okay, so we're gonna put this one here. Put the butterflies there. I have tons of butterflies for my butterfly journal I'm making. Tons of them. Okay, so and then these are the dragonflies. I found the dragonfly I wanted to use though. So I'll just put those that way. Okay, then we got back to a hummingbird. I have a whole section out in my studio that's for coloring pages. So looks like a bee. Could be a fly. Butterfly. That one didn't come out real clear. A birdie. I mean, not all of them can you use sometimes because they just don't feel right or look right. This is a nice dragonfly. I think I'll do that one too. I might start one of those tonight. I just have to stay on top of it because then I forget about it and it just doesn't get in my pictures. So another bird. That's a butterfly. Very elaborate butterfly. Okay, so then that's all of them. Then I would use these for journal cards. This nice and strong. In fact, you could just put one of these on the back of it. Okay, so that's that. That one's. Then we're gonna take these birdie ones. Also, I'm gonna put the parrots on top. I think though, because well, maybe not. I'll just go through them. Hopefully, I won't forget I got them. Okay, so those are going out back out to the garage at some point. All right. So what we're gonna do is remember, I was making letters. I got to write that up again. So I always forget it because my brain is all squishy. Give me a minute here while I think back. So I have markers. Markers, and I'm still going through markers. I also have pencils and crayons. But I need to go through these and set them up in a better setup so I can access them because I keep forgetting I have them. Well, not really forgetting I have them, but it just seems like it's not worth the effort to pull them out, if that makes sense. So, so I'm working on that. I have that one. I have this bunch here. Has to be separated and gone through. I've got a whole bunch over here I have to go through, so. I don't know if you remember what we were doing. But I was making letters. So that's what we're doing tonight. It's not like this is something you would have to do at all. I'm really bad at spelling. Alright. I am going to make a giant snail shell for the other one. I started the leaf already, as you had seen, but I like this paper here. It might be very bright to you guys. It might not be as pretty to you, because looking at it through here, it looks like brown, but it's a copper color. Okay. So let's do this. I bought a new stamp, an owl stamp, but I don't know where that paper went. I want to see. These are going to be our bases. So I'm going to get my cutters out. My cutter out. I have a cutter in here as well. I have cutters everywhere. They're worth their time and effort to buy. I think one of the things is I watched the Paper Outpost, and she's been doing this as a YouTube channel for a really long time. But she has let me get there. She gives you a list of the things you should buy if you want to do journaling making. I can kind of say that there's a lot of stuff on her list that I did not use. And there are many people who have made lists on what you need and what you don't need. So I'm going to give you my shortened version of a list. So what it is that, and it's not kudos or anything, but a while back, before I started to get into the journaling scene on YouTube, I thought it would be really great if I made kits for people to do journaling. That is now a thing. People do that. I had never found them before. But now it's much easier to go to your favorite person that you like to watch, and they probably will have a way for you to buy a kit. Or, so a lot of times people just sell their journals. But I think it's more fun if you learn to do the journaling yourself. So I was going to create these kits, but I'm just going to, you can just talk about them. It's not like a thing it has to be. I can't sell anything anymore, so I can give them away, which is probably something I'm also going to make for my art stuff, is journal kits that you can purchase. Well, not purchase, but trade for, because I'm going to be doing trading. That's my idea. And then that one over there too. These are extras if I need them. Put those over here. We're going to cut this out. I hear a bird. It's doing her best to be a hawk. I hear a bird that's trying to be a hawk. And then this one here we want to cut out. Yeah. I don't know where my little pad went. I have a pad for notes and shit. Okay, so one of the things I think that you need for a journal is some way of making the journal. So either you saw me put together boxes for journaling, or you could also put cardboard together. You can use old books. You can buy a journal. Thrift stores sell them all the time. And pull it apart and start a different style on it. Okay, so that's the first thing I would think about. Well, actually, the very first thing would be the basic tools. So you need scissors. You can buy scissors most anywhere, as we all know. But you can buy them in these big kits for like a pretty good price, depending on where you go for them. Sometimes I go to used places. Sometimes you can go like Jerry's, a lawn and garden, whatever place. They will sell them as well. Okay, so we're going to start with one of our, let's start with this one, cut it up. So that would be the first thing you're going to need. Okay, then you need to decide what kind of journals you want to make. So if you're just making them for yourself, I would experiment with all kinds. If you're making them for other people, I would say my experience says stick to what you know best. So whatever is the one that you can make the easiest, that's the one you should go for. If you are like me and you just like to explore the different ways to do things, then I would say, again, also, whether you're making them for yourself or someone else, explore all the avenues of it. So in that case, you're going to need a little bit more stuff than you would if you just did a basic. One of the most easy journals that I saw made that I didn't even think about was in cards. So you get yourself a bunch of cardstock and you can print whatever you want on it. Or do mixed media paper. You can buy mixed media paper, which is a little thicker, like watercolor paper. And then you just sew your signatures in. Signatures are the clumps of paper that make a book a book. So I'll show you real quick. So in here, this book was put together. There are, you can see them right here. There's these little like sections that if we pull it out a little bit more, we might be able to see them. But the real bound tight ones, you're not going to see them as much. So some books are made where paper is layered on top of itself like this, you know, which I shared in my Discord. And then it's all the edges are pushed together and put in a book binding box, book press, which will press the pages really tight, and then you glue that, and then you put like cheesecloth or something over that for the lining of the inside of the book. And then it'll be sitting in the book thing like this, and you'll lay your cover across it, and then compress it down. And that's how these books are made. It's kind of same simple tool. You get a bunch of signatures together. You don't have to do it that way. You could push them all together, and then you sew the edges, and you glue that. I have a book kind of like that one. My journal is also another style. That's when I told you could buy a journal and, you know, from someplace else. Here's an example of this one. I bought this one in a thrift store. And see how it's spined. It's still a cover across, but then it was hole punched here, and they put ribbon in it to bind it. I'm pretty sure because it was a bought one, they probably glued the spine as well. I mean, that's usually the thing, is that if we looked up here, we could probably see that not only was it bounded this way, so it was double bounded. So here's the spine, and you can see how it lays over this part. And then these were put in, and that part was glued first. Then after that dried, then they put this cover in after it, and it only holds to the edge right there. And then they hole punched it, and they thread it like that. Now, it's not hard to learn about bookbinding. There are so many classes on bookbinding that you wouldn't have a problem finding any out there of people that teach you how to bookbind. Including putting that I shared on my Discord, a lady who makes these beautiful, elaborate hardcover book covers for her paperback books. And those are considered art as well. That would also be a mixed media art. She didn't originally write the book. She didn't design the cover page either. So, but she does this elaborate, beautiful artwork that's her own. Even if it's just even if it is lettering, not just if it's lettering. And then she ends up, you know, being able to sell the books that way. So, let's see. You will need paper for making journals. The kind of paper you need will be completely up to you. You can do just scrapbook paper. I've done journals that are just mostly scrapbook paper. You could buy it new, or you could go like I do to the thrift store, or both. I always look for, I'm going to tell you right now, Michael's. And most, I don't know about Hobby Lobby. I don't shop at Hobby Lobby, but I would assume probably also Hobby Lobby. So most art places will have sales on their scrapbook paper. So if you even Amazon will too. If you have a favorite paper or designer, you can look for that. I'm cutting these up because I'm going to be using them in scraps. And if, you know, I cut way too many of these, that's okay because I can use them in other things. Remember I told you how I dislike when they put it on the back. At least this is the same page, same kind of page on the other side. It'd be a drag if you had to pick between which owls you wanted to use because you had two different colors going on. But yeah, so if scrapbooking is what you want, you can buy like pictures like this. This is a picture of scrapbook paper. You can buy big ones that are this size about. You can buy, there's smaller ones. They're about this big, and they're like specialty papers. Those are all the different ways that you can find scrapbook paper. It's called scrapbook paper. I don't know that truly. It's just, you don't, sometimes it's craft paper too. There are some really favorite brands out there that produce beautiful, beautiful work. I question now if some of that's AI, not that it bothers me, but it does bother people that make it. Most paper is made in China. Arts paper like that, China, India, or they mass produce it. So then, and the thing is that I found these are just basic stuff you would need because you're going to change it up based on what you're making your journal of. So if your journal is going to be an art journal where you're going to paint in it, right, and you're going to draw in it and you're going to do that, you're going to have a different type of setup paper-wise than you are if it's a writing one. Most of the journals I do are a little bit of both. I will paint in them or decorate in them also, as well as just, you know, writing in them. So I always do a mixture of different stuff, depending on what I want. There'll be copy paper in there. There'll be used copy paper in there. There'll be newspaper. I don't like newspaper very much because the ink comes off, and it's really hard to find newspaper nowadays because the paper is really, really thin. But it's a nice paper to play around with. I have some that I want to do some gel painting on, and it's very fine paper, so we'll see how that turns out. napkins. Okay, so wait. So let's talk about paper. The best source of paper, and this might cause you to go, is books. There's all kinds of different styles of book pages out there. You can get thick ones that will hold up to paint and stuff. You can get thin ones that don't hold up to paint and stuff. But because you like to look at it, they'll make a really good transparency for you. You can... I would stay away from magazine pages. They don't glue really well. They're good for collage, but I haven't found. That's just personal preference, though. There's other people out there that probably use them a lot, and they work great. There are so many companies out there, though, I'm telling you. You can buy for days for items. Not just Amazon. There's a journal, say, from England that has stickers galore. You can find stickers almost anywhere. The new thing that I'm going to be buying is brackets, so I can add other journals in my journals. Besides sewing them in there, I like to do different things. And be able, those are you can take out because they're just bracketed in. So scissors, pencils, you can buy whatever pencil you like best. I would say something to make color with. I don't think you have to buy as much as I do. A lot of my different things come from the kids, though. Like, somebody will buy their kids something, and then they know me, so they send me a bunch of their art supplies that aren't working anymore. And if I can't use them, I take them to... We have a place here in Eugene that upcycles stuff, art supplies, for teachers. So the teachers can go in, and they'll get it for free. They also have classes for art classes, like you can come in and learn how to do some type of art. So that happens too. So I tend to, whenever I get a bunch of art stuff that I'm not using, and again, it's like anything, like any thrift store, it has to be something that can be reused. It can't be your junk. Though some junk... Some junk is useful, so that it's kind of you have to take it in and see if they need it. Because, like, I bought a ton of transparency papers from them. And they had it on sale for 75% because they couldn't get rid of it. They had so much of it, so I went ahead and bought some. And it is a thrift store, so the prices are really good. I don't know how much longer they'll be there. I don't know if they run on a grant or don't. If they're running on a grant, they're probably not going to be there much longer. Grants make it hard unless they're company grants. I'd like these too. I think I'm going to... Okay, let's cut this one out. I cleaned a little bit yesterday in my garage. So I could get, well, the idea was the boys were going to go out and they were going to do some sorting of papers for me because I have just bunches of boxes of papers that need to be re-put back together because I took them, I just threw stuff in that I was making. Remember, you got any questions, go ahead and ask them. I'm not an expert, but I'll help you the best I can. So anyway, so if, what's another thing? I would invest one of these cutters, but you could also do, if you're good with a ruler and an ecto blade or a box cutter, those will work just as well for cutting up paper. You could go to local artisan places and buy paper. If you're really lacking in paper, though, and like I have butcher paper that was donated to me. I have brown butcher paper that was donated to me. I have heavy drawing paper that was donated to me. And then I buy stuff at thrift stores, and then sometimes I buy new stuff. But you can take something out of a book like this. People like the way music notes look, and I agree. They're kind of fun to watch. Look at. So this would make it, this makes your just color it however you want to color it. You can color it with crayons. You could color it with tea bags. You could color it, you know. You could just color it. I'm going to open this one now. Okay, we have these 4 here. I got to figure out which one I like from that 4. I want to cut these up. But a cutter, a small color especially, would be great. I don't think that, I wouldn't say that you actually needed a big cutter, because unless you're making really big journals, and then you might need it. I'll stick that there. Again, that's just a preference. What are you doing with the paper? You can buy pretty good papers. You'll learn to look at paper and go, oh, not all paper is created equal. You may want to cut these. These are, that would be useful. Just want to cut them like this. I think so. I'll just cut them like that. I don't know if I'm going to use them all. So then, let's see, I talked about paper. Paper bags, you can use paper bags and color it up. You can use, envelopes are their own thing, but can also be used as paper. You can learn to make envelopes, and then that's cool, because then you can take the paper you made and make envelopes from it. You can buy a template. That's what I did. You buy a template to do that with. Let's see, we want to go this way.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, boo?
Nothing much.
What you need? Nope, heading to the bathroom, I see.
Hi, Papa.
So I did say you need some kind of coloring tool, but I'm telling you, there's so many easy, cheap options out there. You may decide. I would start with something small. So like, Shardvixen does a kit you could do. This is not it, but they do a couple of just basic colors. You can get big color for about 25 bucks. The best way I found, if you want markers, is just go Crayola. Go with Crayola until you know what you want to do. Once you have a better idea of what it is you want to do, then you'll know what kind of like tip you want. So here's, I'm going to show you really quick. So see that tip? It's more like a wedgie tip. I don't know what you call it. It comes to a point, but you can color on the sides, but it is literally just a print like this. So just like you're writing. See? But you will get a little bit of a side for that. So that's fine. But then you could move upwards from that. You could go, well, you know what? That's not giving me quite what I want. Then there's a finer tip. This is Sharpie. See how wide the tip is? It comes to more of a point, but this is a tighter thing, so that I'm not writing anything, I'm just showing. And then when you color it, it has a better ability to go out and in and out as small. Okay, then that's that tip, and then you have this tip, which is a kind of a combination between the other. So this one's a middle to those two. See? Again, it's wide like that, but not as, it's kind of chunky on all the things. And then coloring it, that's, you know. See that? And then I have other tips that I buy. So There's the fine tip, which is the ballpoint tip. Very tiny lines in comparison. I have quite a few of those. This is also a very fine tip. About the same width. And then, so once you buy a simple one, and then you can explore different things you want. Some alcohol pins, like this one here is an alcohol pin. See, this is an alcohol pin, and it has the felt pin side, and then it has a wedge side for shading. It's made specifically to shade, but it's dry. And it has a tip on the end too. So there's also the fat markers, these ones, which their tip still works like a tip. And their shading works like shading. Then I have some, like I said, I got felt tips, which also produce a different texture. So you just pick what you want. I would say, but you don't have to do markers. You don't want to do markers? Do pencils. I have a big old thing of pencils too. They're over there. And then crayons. And I find crayons are very useful. I'm just working on pastels now. So okay, so we're going to be done with the owl one pretty soon. I'm thinking once I get the letters up, I'll take a look at and see if I feel like there's something else I need to add. So I was going to do it tonight, but because standing is kind of hard on me, we'll do it next Saturday. I'll at least share it with you if I do more of it before. Making a leaf, and then I'm going to highlight the leaf with one of the tactile things I have, and then the fleece. So it's going to make an outline of the leaf, and then I'm going to put a big giant shell. I'm going to create a shell. I haven't decided how I'm going to create the shell yet. I might use that twine paper rope that I have. If not, I'll make my own paper rope to use it, and then paper mache it. So how do you make paper rope? Well, you could, weave it like you do. But I'm not going to do that. What I'll do is I'll braid it. I'll braid little strips of paper. And then glue them together and do it that way, so I can get a way to squish them around like a sculpturing. Or I could pull out my clay, and I could make long strips from the clay, curve it out, and cook it, and then that'd be a heavier, harder thing. But I try not to get too heavy, especially when I'm using the styrofoam. So now, this might be kind of a boring stream. I apologize. My shoulders already starting to give me problems. But I am no longer high, so that's a plus. All I have is the leftovers. After you get high or drunk, you start to feel tired and blah. You bought some colors today, Philly. I just saw that. What colors did you buy? I have to be careful because marijuana kicks my binge eating like over the edge. Because my low blood sugar, my body thinks I have low blood sugar when I don't, because of the intermittent fasting, and the brain says, "Oh, you're hungry," but I'm not hungry, which is a tricky thing with diet. I will admit that it's hard to know. You have to be careful. All right, so I said markers, crayons, pencils. You want colored pencils. If you're gonna not, if you want to use colored pencils as your coloring thing, you still need pencils. So would be good, or pens of some type would be fabulous. I would suggest, and it's not that you have to, but I would suggest that you get some type of paint to play around with. But you don't have to do it in paintbrush style. You can do it in pen style, or remember I showed you those sticks I got? You can get it in sticks, like a glue stick. But is it creating your own backgrounds? It's just a fun thing to play around with. You might decide you don't like it and never do it again. But it's good to have for making, you know, your journal kits. That would be something I would put in. Now me, I buy a lot of just stuff. Like I buy it because I know I can use it at some point in time. But only, I would say that that's probably 40% of what I buy. The rest is because I have a thing in mind I want to make, and whenever I find said things out in the world, I pick them up. So like I bought an owl stamp. I don't know if I'll be using it, but now I have one. It's cute. I have a different one, but this one's a cutie one. In fact, I might go find it and show it to you. It's a foam one, so it can just be easier to paint on it. I think I've played where you can use the markers too on it if you want. But some stuff is, the consistency is hard for it. I don't know why I did that. I was using that. Sometimes some of the pictures you gotta be careful with, because if you're following a color scheme, you want to get yourself a good color wheel or make your own color wheel. That would be a suggestion as well if you don't have any experience with color wheels in the past. I would get yourself a good color wheel. I would get one that shows you, well, I would make a nice round one myself. You could do that too. And then you could see where the complementary and contrasting colors are. But a really great one is one you make. And when you make it, I'm going to show you with my pens. Okay, so we're going to make one here. Let's do it this way instead. Give me my Sharpie. Another Sharpie, please. Okay. Okay, it's not even. It's fine, but you do want 1/3 of each of the blocks. Then, in the 1/3 blocks, you're going to do this. Okay. Then let's use these. I had to see how they look. These were given to me a while back, and I haven't really used them. So we'll get a red out. There's my red. Now, if it works, I don't know if it will, because some crayons are not, some markers do not mix well. Or they keep a trail the same color following you after you've made them, and you're like, that's not what I wanted. Okay, you can kind of see it with this marker. So there's red. Right, and then next to red is yellow. Now, I want to make that yellow more orange, so I'm going to add this, which may or may not work because it's a heavier color. Some pens mix really well together and some do not. Oh, this paper just ripped, so this would not be a good paper to use. All right, for these markers, don't use them with these markers. Let's see if I can find a different marker. I don't have any of my alcohol inks anymore. So, all right, let's do this again. Sorry. Because I know we were doing something else, but I think this is kind of important, maybe. Maybe it's kind of important. All right. Here's another black one. All right. When you first did, this would be red. And even though this is still red, it is also partly yellow to be orange. Okay, then you do this one. This is, on this side is yellow. Right? And this is going to be green because it's partly yellow and partly blue. And then this is going to be blue and then purple, which is partly blue and partly red. Okay, so you do it that way first. Then you can just get whatever pens you have at that point and color them up, or whatever you're using. You don't have to be pens, remember, it can be whatever you want it to be. So we'll put a blue here. And you want to do this because it helps you when you're creating color design for anything. It doesn't really matter what it is. The more you learn about color, the better off you are. So this would go like this. I'm going to put a purple in there, but... And then, this is not the right purple, but we'll just pretend it is. So, well, it's pretty dark. So then there's a purple. Okay, then the next one's going to be red. See? It's tad red. Where'd it go? Oh, I'll do this one. I just tad red. Crayons will mix well. Pencils too. And see, the little bit of this will go over on this side, right? And then this side. No, let's do. We need yellow. Yellow, come here, Matt. For yellow and orange. I think that's a better orange. It's kind of a peach, but we'll go with it. We'll go with it. It'll work. Okay, so then yellow. It's over here. Some of it's going to go over here. Same. And then this one is going to go here. So you only need a set of something that will mix pretty well together. Right? And we need a green. I think somebody gave me these. I'm not positive. I could have gotten them at the store though. I get things. This is a really light green, but it's fine. Now, green, this color is going to be closer to the yellow edge than a green, the darker green, which is going to be closer to the blue. And then there is the pure green, which is the exact color combination. So, a true orange is 50% red and 50% yellow. And that's same for all the secondary colors. They're 50% of the 2 colors that go in. Now, what you need to remember when you're doing colors is, when looking at colors, depending on how you, and I talk about this a lot because it's one of the easiest things you can learn about art that's gonna help you out to do art. Now, it's not a set in stone, and you don't have to do it set in stone, but if you're first starting out, you can look at colors and decide how you want to pop them. So all the colors that go across from each other are called contrasting colors. When they stand side by side, the human brain is very stimulated by the color. And the thing you gotta remember about them, of colors of any kind, so see, there's that weird poppingness, is when you're mixing them, how close do they go to their primary colors? The primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. So this has a very orange tint to it, so it would look better next to a blue, more bluey purple than a red purple, if that makes sense. But they do pop either way. So now you have 3 colors you could work with when you're building your journals or you're building your pictures or whatever you're doing. Now you have 3 colors. Complementary colors are the colors that are sitting next to each other. I'm pretty sure that's it. And then there's the color that you actually create, which is secondary colors or primary color, depending on what it is. When you use all the colors, the theory, the idea is that you're going to get black, but really what you get is a brown. Black and white, you usually need to not use white unless you're painting, or have markers of some type. Crayons too will work with the white. It'll help lighten the stuff down. So, okay, so there's all the owls. Those owls. Might use other owls because I got other owls to use. So let's look at our thing. We can't use the big ones. It's a pretty owl. This is that one. So we'll probably cut this one out. I don't know if I want to use it yet. I might. The paper, the feel of this paper is interesting too. It is a thicker paper than just a basic copy paper. You can tell by feeling it. Okay, so I'm going to put that one aside. I like these ones. Little eyeballs are like freaked out eyeballs. Woo! We haven't got any of these, so let's cut some of these out. I don't think I have any blues either, but okay, so we talked about color, stuff you need to color. You can color your paper in various ways. I've always showed you. You can use shaving cream. You can use tea packets. You can use food coloring. I did a video a while back, well, when I first started, it's been over 5 years or so, in which you do Kool-Aid packets to dye the paper. And then if you put them in the oven for a little bit to dry them off, they'll get a crispy feel to them. And whether you want that crispy feel or not will be up to what you're designing in your papers. Junk journals, don't have to do a junk journal, but junk journals are all the extra paper that, like junk mailing, the ideas, your magazines. It's created on the idea that people, junk isn't really the right term for it, nor is trash. I don't think anymore. It's just things that can still be used. Upcycling is what it's called, but I mean, the era that it came from was before the Depression and around the Depression, when these kind of things were luxuries and cost more. I remember how excited my grandmother had been to get a journal with blank paper, she told me, when she was a kid to draw in, because she got it for a birthday present, or a graduation present, because it was so expensive. The paper was just expensive. And you use things that they use now, butcher paper or whatever. But a lot of people who create journals, not all of them, but a lot of them will just use, will buy paper online or buy it. I bought lots of paper from stores and stuff, because if you get it for a good price, you can use it in other projects. It doesn't have to be just that one project that you are currently working on. Like, I don't have to use all the owls just on this project. I can put some of this paper away, which I will, and use it for other paper, other journals, or other things, like the little flowers. The flowers are kind of cute. But I don't ever want to do my paintings without some of my own creativity in it. So maybe paper I've made, or paper I painted. You don't ever want to with an awful lot to do that. Okay, I don't think I have a lot of these ones. I like the green one. We may not actually get to making any of these. Okay, so we talked about scissors, maybe a paper cutter and a box cutter. You can use those two to create stuff. You're going to have to decide how you're going to attach your signatures. And there are, if you're building them from scratch. If you're building them from a used book, not necessarily. But if you're building it from scratch with its own cover and everything, you're going to want to figure out how you're going to insert. And there are a lot of ways to insert paper. You could just use rubber bands. So you fold up the paper and you fold up the cover, and then you put a rubber band in that, and that allows you to slip the papers in and out so that the cover can be used again, if that's so your desire. You can sew your signatures in. You can glue your signatures in a couple of different various ways. You can do like I did. I made that paperback, making that paper bag journal, the two of them, the tomes, for my daughter, and I will be putting gesso in it on the paper bags to make white paper for her to color on if that's what she wants, or write on if that's what she wants to do. I don't think I need a whole lot of these. But the green ones I probably want to use more, the green and brown. But I want to get a nice, as much of a variety as I can of the owls. You're going to have some storage set up. That was something that I didn't even, I knew I was going to need, but didn't really consciously think about how much I was going to need. Let's see, what else? You have to decide your glue that you want to use. If you're just gluing stuff, and like I said, if you got to figure out how you're going to bind your book. So if your book's just going to be an elastic holding one, then you don't need a lot of glue. You might need glue for putting pretties and building stuff together. If you're going to sew them in, you're going to need a nice kit for that. Let's see if I have one available. I'm pretty sure I've showed you guys. So here's some thread options. This is embroidery thread. You want a thread that's thicker. So you either want this kind of thread or you want a book binding thread. Did I show that one? Yeah. Or a book binding thread. And I could show you with this, but I forgot I had this one. So here is a little journal I was making for my journal. It's from a card. I've been folding it together because I haven't gone through yet. And these are all the signatures that are in it. And signatures, remember, it's just a bunch of papers together. So I can do another one. I could do this one and sew it in right there, and then do another one right here, and then I'd have all this paper to do whatever I wanted. Sometimes you can, now here's the thing about the journal. Sometimes, because there are people out there like me who are very tactile and we like the way things feel. So I will put a couple of these together for myself and put them in my journals just so I can touch them. You know, nothing else. But because this is a thicker paper, I'm going to need some type of thicker thread. So embroidery thread works well, and it's colored and not too pricey. Or you can get bookbinding thread along with other threads. I'm going to show you. Oh, this was open. Okay. All right, so there is a beading cord. This is good. A hemp cord, I got it. You can use that. You can use bookbinding cord, which is this, which is it's about the same gauge, which is the thickness. It's pretty close to that. Let's see if I got one that's undone. I want to undo it. This could be, some of this can be a little thinner. I don't know what happened here. But you can see this is more like thread. And then this is a little thicker. They have the same texture. And then you can get waxed. I have waxed bookbinding thread as well. And then you want, Amazon has a really good set for that you can get. That comes like, I don't know if I can find it. Here. I don't hear it. It might be in the other, my needles might be in my other thing. But here is a sample. These are repair needles, but you see this one right here? That's a good size, or this one right here. I would go this one down here. Not as big of a needle eye. You only need the bigger needle eye if you're going to have bigger gauge thread. But this one down here would probably work. I don't think you can see that. I don't want to take it out either. So that one right there. Because it has a smaller eye, but sturdy for that. That's if you want to sew them in. You can, like I said, put them all together like this. Put them in a little press, glue them, and then poke holes and sew through that way as well. So, I mean, you have various options, and there's so many YouTube channels out there that will share how to do it. So, yeah, well, as long as you remember, it doesn't matter the thickness, the gauge of the thread. Only if you have really thin paper and really heavy thread, because it will rip really easy. So if you're going to use a lot of really fine paper like these, like this one, you're going to want to glue them together. At least in a margin, you're going to glue them a little bit before you sew them. But yeah, I would bookbinding. Let me tell you real quick. So let me tell you how much a bookbinding kit. If you don't like Amazon, I apologize, but I'm going to tell you how much a bookbinding kit would be. I'm just saying you can make them yourself, but if you get a kit first, then it'll come with stuff that you can use. So on the average, the one I got is a 33-piece bookbinding kit. It has a 4-piece bone folder, paper creaser. You get you get 2 of those actually. You get a little ruler. You get all the curved needles and the straight needles, and a straight needle case. You get 4 colors: white, a dark brown, a light brown, and black wax thread. The wax thread keeps the paper from ripping as much. And that's all for $9. over there on Amazon. I want this kit. I might end up buying it at some point in time. I made a homemade book press, but I would really like to get one. And then I would probably just buy the kit again, even though I have all the needles, even though I have all the repair needles. I have the two awls. I have the book brushes for the glue and everything. I have all that because I bought kits before. But this one for $45 or $43 will get you also the book binding press, which will allow you to press flowers as well too if you're interested in that. So there's quite a bit of options. Now, like the book press, they have a book press. I have a big one because I had a plan for it. But I wanted to make big journals and I just haven't gotten to it. But I could just buy a book press, which has the little handle on it, for $40. And whenever I decide that I'm going to do something like that, that's when I get it. Yes, I do. You can color. Feely Boy's right. You can use various vegetables and teas to make color as well, which we did one time. I have a whole book on paper coloring, paper making, and in the paper making it also talks about how to dye your paper. There's all kinds of ways to dye paper. Okay, so once you decide how you're binding your journal, then when you make your kits, when you put your stuff together, you pick out what it is you want or don't want, you'll be able to have a better idea of your paper. Like this paper tends to hold up pretty well. It's thin, but it tends to hold up pretty well with the book binding stuff. I have had, though, paper rip, and then I had to go back to and figure out how I was going to attach it because it obviously wasn't going to stay attached. These owls are very happy looking. Little happy, cheery owls. Okay, well, I guess we only got to cutting owls today because I was chitter-chattering. But once that's been all picked out, you're pretty much done with what you need for making books, making journals. Everything else after that will just be extra. Not to say you shouldn't try the extra stuff, but you don't have to spend it. I mean, like a ruler, you might want a ruler or make yourself one. You want it all if you're going to do book binding, but like, again, that's just buy a kit, man. Spend the money for $9 if you can. Can't, well, then go look at them, and you can probably figure out ways to find stuff that you already have to make nice journals. I've made journals from cards. I made a bunch of them one Christmas for people that were asking for little journals. I made them, and I just used embroidery thread. Embroidery thread don't cost you that much. Again, if you have the money. You don't have the money, then I would go with gluing. If you don't have the money for a book binding kit to start with, I would glue them. And there's a couple different ways you can glue your pages. You could glue them and then punch bigger holes in them and use ribbon, like I showed you. Or elastic. I think maybe the elastic is the way I go, because you can use nice rubber bands for that. That gives a sepia tone on the... Yeah, I thought it would match well with this. Maybe like this and a green. See? I really like those colors. Those are some of my favorite colors. Burning mouth is a thing today for sure. I don't want to get stoned again. I probably will. I just need to find the right basic. Because when I get the right mixture for the meds, for the, not meds, but for the medicinal marijuana, it works really well. So, on a collage. Well, yeah, so I didn't know if you were here before, Sophie, because I think I did it last, maybe it was last Thursday. I think I did, I showed what I was doing. So I'll show you in just a minute what I'm doing here. That's why we're cutting out owls up. We are making a collage. You are correct. It's going to carry our letters for us. Okay, so that one, I think they might be repeats now. Nope. I don't think we have this one. Wow, quite a bit of owls there. Here. And like I said, I'm not going to end up using all of these, but I will be putting them away in my picture thing and use them more often. Miss it and use them. But, so, the reason I was saying this, if you email me, I can give you a list, or I can make you a journal kit and mail it to you. It'll take me a couple weeks to set it up if that's what you want. I do not charge, as I told you. There's no charging channel. If you wish to do a trade, you can always donate some supplies on my Amazon list. I have a wish list over there. If you're not a person that likes to take things that are free, free means nothing to me. It just means I did something for you. That was it. There's no money attachment to it. There's no value attachment to it. Nothing. It's just, I did something, thought you might like it, and shared it with you. And the thing is because I view money, I guess, kind of different than other people. Once you spend the money, it's gone. And you can't put a value on things that you enjoy. I mean, I guess you could, but you shouldn't. That's more of the term. You shouldn't do that because it's okay to enjoy them. Unless they're drugs, and then I would be careful of that. But even then, you're an adult. It's okay. If you're not an adult, you should never do drugs. Your brain is not baked until you're in your 20s. And you need all the brain cells you can get, because by the time you get to be my age, they're not replenishing themselves, and we really need them to. You have to think of tricks to get yourself to be able to remember things. But once you're an adult, I am a firm believer that you have the right to do as you wish. As a witch, the motto is do no harm unto others. So as long as it's not harming somebody else, and you have consent, and everybody's of age, then it is, I guess, go ahead and go for it. There are some things, though, that I think that kind of teeter on that, because I know there was a huge question that came about this person was hurting another person, but the other person supposedly allowed them to do so, but what they were doing was illegal. So you have to be careful. If it causes any kind of harm, it's not just physical harm. If it causes harm to somebody in the long term of things, short term of things, you should be really careful. You don't need to hurt others. I'm not talking about self-defense here, though. And even then, you don't really have to hurt people. You could be a pacifist and believe in no violence whatsoever. I really like that flower in there. It keeps calling to me. I'm going to leave some that way. I'm going to leave them that way because I like them. Because they're very contrasting colors. The blue and the green. The blue and the red are secondaries. not secondaries, primaries that hang out together. Okay, so we're going to leave that there. I think these ones are too big, personally, so I'm not doing them. These two sets are a little big for me, for what I'm trying to do. I might use them at a different place in this, but right now I'm not going to use them. I do like the rose, though. This one, too. So it's like the same ones, but bigger. But bigger. If you notice the pattern, that's when it, that's that. And the flowers in the background are a little different, too. About this one. Those might work, though. They don't. Maybe they are the same size. I don't know. Let's see. Well, they're kind of the same size, but I'm going to cut some up anyway. Someone like an agent can cancel you on the value of the time of the work. Well, I don't attribute to that. My time also is not. You and I would argue about this, Feely, because I don't believe that art should. I think all art should be free. I think that you could have a patron who pays you to share your art with everyone, not just them. I think you could do a trade. I personally believe trade, and if I was going to do a trade, then yes, I would. What is the trade worth? But if someone comes to me, if you were to say, hey, I want a journal kit, okay, the only expertise that you are paying for in that journal kit is my ability to put things together for you to create a journal, to give you enough supplies to create a journal. Otherwise, there's no expertise or time really taken out except maybe to look for the stuff. But if you already have the stuff, you're not really. This is just my opinion, though. That's not to say that somebody does not charge you more than I would charge you for a piece of art, because everyone has to, as Feely says, everyone has to determine what their art is worth to them. My art is worth stuff. It's not bad art. It's just that I don't believe in selling art. I didn't believe it even when I could make money. Though I will say that I will sell ideas. And you can do the art as you wish. But art itself should be free for everyone to enjoy. So a lot of people don't have the ability to enjoy it. They can't. Now you can get, here in Oregon, we have free family days where the city has paid for the ability, or the state has, for people to go to art museums and stuff and see art. But prior to that, a lot of times the only time you might see art is in school, and even then certain teachers are going to be more apt than other teachers to pick what you get to see or not see. But if you want to put your art in a gallery, go for it. That is awesome. This feels nice too. Interesting paper. This will also go out to be made into journals. I think the paper that I'm going to keep in here and color on it down the road. Put that there. Let's cut this with the cutter. But that's the socialist in me. We all know this. The concept is that I can do it. If I can trade work for you, trade something with you, then I would trade with you before I would charge you. So if you have the ability to make something I can't make, then I'm totally into trading it for you. And I just think that's because I spent most of my life doing that. I didn't buy brand new clothes. I bought used clothes, or if they were new, they were off sale stuff. They have a free day once a month. That's the way to go. Go with the free day. Free days are great for anything, but you're talking about museums. But yes. Okay, so let's make one of these. I really liked this one too. Cut this one up. But art is going to cost you some type of investment. It's either going to cost you investment in time, investment in money, or investment of both. It's also going to, it also takes a little bit off of your viewpoint of yourself. So your, how much you and your time is worth. So, phones for lightning. They also put on art sculptures. Those are cool. I joined a couple of, we have here, well, they had for a while. After COVID, some of it was not here anymore. But they had where you joined art events, and then they would paint them. You'd turn in your art idea, and they would get back to you whether they wanted to use it or not. Now, one of my chalk ones got used, but not any of my other ones, which is, you know, that's okay. And it's okay because you might like my art, and Feely might like my art, and I might like Feely's art, but somebody else we know might not like either one of our arts, or only likes my art, or maybe only likes my drawing art but doesn't like my paper arts or whatever. Okay. Question comes, do I want to put I think I want to go that way. So we're going to cut that one. I mean, they're not going to be that big. They're about half this size. But I do like that look there, so we're going to glue it right there. I have this new glue I really liked, and I can't find it. I do like this, though. Because then I don't have to put my fingers in it. Which, I don't mind putting my fingers in glue. If I don't have to, that's fine, too. Now, I'm gonna put that one right there. Yeah, but I gotta figure out what I'm cutting off, because I'm not putting all of that on there. Because remember, we're writing on their bellies. We're writing on the bellies. Oh, wrong one. I'm going to put that one there. Then when I cut this, this is going to become scrap. Could be used again. No, it's going to get cut. And then this one's going to cut. Okay, and then there's my, whatever you want to call it, sticker or whatever, but we got to figure out what color I want to make that. Let's try a brown. And the letter we need is L. I need L, I think. I might end up making extras, so. And we're making capitals, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so then that's that one. And I might end up, really, if it ends up being too big, I'll probably overlap them. But I feel like now that's a little big. It's the whole owl, but I feel like it's a little big, so. Okay, let's make another one, but let's use this. I want to go nearer, I think, so we're going to have to. But you can use this same idea that I'm doing right now. In fact, many people have, and I'll try to find some, where they make the affirma, where they make the affirma for journals. And this is what they do. They do pieces and parts together. So I want this one, but we're going to overlap it with this one. We need to get really thin on that, I think. Much thinner than that is. I like this part down here with the birds in it. Or the petals, or whatever they are. This is a scrapbook painted on top. Okay, I'm going to look at this. I'm thinking, yeah, right there. I'm going to cut this one in half. Right, so that was, I want to go this way. Not quite straight. Let's turn it around this way because that is straight. Sure, that looks like about right. Okay, so then we'll use that one first, and then we can go back and take this if I wanted, and put that in there. And I could do a triple layer where I put this one in, so I'll put that one in first. Wet. This is a little bit too wet for some of these pages. Don't stick there. Because the idea here, oh, it's not going to glue. It's not wet enough. Wait a minute. Same brand. Not as thick, not as sticky. So it may not stick. Just some paper does not stick very well. No matter how much you make it stick. Try to make it stick. Okay, then we need to figure out which owl do I want to put on there. I could put that owl. But I don't think so. Well, I could. I do have the ability to use something for that. I don't want to do that one though. Let's do this one. Okay, because this is a coppery orange. Blue is going to look really good on it. So I'm going to slim this down a little bit. I'm going to put this together now. Oh, that didn't stick. You bastard. Why didn't it stick there? Don't worry, me and glue, we have problems all the time getting things to stick. It doesn't like to stick very much. Okay, there we go. So there's that one. I want to blow on it a little bit before I cut it. Okay, so our next word is going to be I. I don't know if I want to do it. I'm going to try my white. That is not that is not black. That's black. Well, we'll do that. I. thought it was my white one, but it wasn't. So there's that. Now I did do some outlining on some of the other ones, so I might end up outlining it. Later. There you go. So then there's another one. Those are our letters. And it doesn't matter when you're making things if the letters are all balanced or not, because it's a mixed media. And that might be the design you want to have with it. So I'm going to put this up. I'm going to quit this stream. I will be back after I set up my next stream. I'm going to play some Brotator. My back hurts a little bit, so. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. I have to change over because this directly streams to Wild Rhyme Time. My YouTube over there, not my regular YouTube. So I've said I'm going to change some things up about that. All right. So I'm sorry we didn't get to coloring. I got to talking about other things and didn't get to the coloring part of the evening, except for the color wheel. There are many color wheels out there. You can buy them this as well as make them. All right, so I'll catch you all on the flip side in about 5-10 minutes. Peace. Thanks T minus mom. Thanks Feely boy. I hope it was useful and entertaining, or at least useful. Peace.